Welcome to JoBlo Horror Video's Best Foreign Horror, where we take a look at significant horror titles from all over the world. There I was. It was 2005, and I was sitting in the theater waiting for my movie to start. Before it began, there was the usual ads for snacks at the concession stand, trivia about which star of The Girls Next Door had a stage name, and then the movie trailers hit. Mixed in with the usual studio fare was a film I'd never heard of but became obsessed with before the trailer was even over. It boasted some crazy action scenes, and the visuals were like nothing I'd seen before. It claimed to be the start of a Russian horror trilogy. Suddenly I forgot what movie I was even there to see. All I knew was that my next mission was to find the film called Night Watch immediately. It had a limited run in the United States, and even though my theater showed the trailer and advertised it in the lobby as coming soon, it never made it there. I had to search this film down when it hit home video. When I finally found it, what followed was almost 2 hours of some of the best visual effects since The Matrix, and an interesting storyline that kept me enthralled for the entire runtime. It felt like something new and no one seemed to be talking about it. I made sure to tell all my friends to watch it. And now I'm here to tell you about one of the best foreign horror movies, Night Watch. I'd like to thank you guys for watching Best Foreign Horror, and ask that if you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now. Like this video and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. And now, back to the show. The movie begins by explaining that since ancient times, the sides of light and dark have been at war. There are beings known as others who have special abilities. Once they find out what their powers are, they choose whether to use them for light or choose to go dark. These others have battled forever, but each side was so evenly matched that they knew neither side would win. A truce was struck. They would end the war, but neither side was allowed to interfere with new others. They had to choose which side to join on their own. In order to police this, each side made up their own organization. The dark had Day Watch, which would monitor the light to make sure they were sticking to the truce, and the light would have Night Watch to ensure the dark kept their side of the promise.
Значит так, для раненого меняется нарушение договора, статья 13, пункт Б. Заговор и покушение.
We then fast forward to modern day and meet Anton, who is going to see a woman who claims to be a witch. He asks her to help him as his wife has just left him for another man. She says she will and informs him that his wife is pregnant with the other man's baby. Following that information, she also lets him know that if she goes through with the incantation, that the wife will miscarry, but will come back to him. He agrees to go through with it. After she gets him to drink a weird concoction, the spell begins. He begins to feel unwell and starts to see visions of his wife starting to miscarry. He tells her to stop, but then the door busts open and strange people stop her from completing the spell. When he asks who they are, they seem surprised he can see them. Anton is an other. We jump ahead another 12 years, and Anton is now part of the Night Watch. He is assigned to monitor a young boy that is about to discover he is an other. They believe the dark is trying to lure him to their side. He follows him onto the subway train, and while there, he sees a strange woman. With his other powers, he can see the future even if he doesn't know what all the images mean. When he accidentally touches the woman, he sees a plane falling from the sky and a tornado of crows flying above an apartment building. He leaves the subway to follow the boy, but is troubled by what he has seen. He catches up with the boy as he is lured to an empty building by a mental call from a couple of vampires. When he intervenes, he ends up killing one of them as the other escapes. He is horribly injured, but is taken back to the Night Watch headquarters. The leader of the Night Watch is able to see what Anton saw and talks of a prophecy about the great other that will tip the scales in the war with the dark. He thinks this might be it, and that she's there to bring about the end of the world.
Потому что легче погасить в себе свет, чем рассеять тьму вокруг. Пророчество сбывается. Началось.
Anton says he has to go after the boy, as the vampire that escaped will surely try to find him. The rest of the Night Watch tries to find out who the woman was that Anton encountered on the subway and how to stop her from bringing about the possible end of the world. By the end of the film, the two storylines converge and the fate of the world hangs in the balance. The visual effects in this film are simply amazing. In 2005, there was absolutely nothing like it. The quick editing with the crazy visuals helped it stay at a quick pace. With the movie coming in at almost 2 hours, it could have easily felt like it dragged. but it flows at great speed, and before you know it, the film is over, leaving you wanting more. The opening scene with Anton at the witch's apartment sets the mood for what to expect with the rest of the film. While the spell is being performed, you see the quick cuts and flashy visuals pop onto the screen. The scene where he gets pushed backwards towards a wall in slow motion is at a slightly Dutch angle, making it a tad uncomfortable. Once he hits the wall and the colors drop, it shifts into a whole new gear. We are introduced to the gloom. Think of a version of the Further from the Insidious films. Others can move within it, outside the view of regular humans. When the other members of Nightwatch show up, one of them shows off their shape-shifting ability and turns into a tiger as the witch tries to fight them off. Absolute great use of visual effects in this scene. The fight between Anton and the vampires in the empty building is a great action scene too. One of them has a pair of scissors that he uses to stab Anton with. With his souped-up flashlight, he's able to burn one of them. Just as all hope seems lost for Anton, the rest of Nightwatch shows up to flood the doorway with their tricked-out van headlights. This hurts the vampire, but Anton grabs a piece of a broken mirror and flashes the light into the body of his enemy. He pushes the vamp backwards into a rolling chair, which collides into a sink. The back of his head breaks off as if it's made of stone, and roaches begin to flow from it. A great visual to give anyone the creeps. When the young boy Igor is home alone, he begins to once again hear the call of the vampire as she hunts him down. It's a creepy scene where he looks around for where the whispering is coming from. He finally stands on his tippy toes to look out the peephole of the front door. At first there is nothing there, but then she shoots into frame and makes him and the audience jump back. The atmosphere in the scene just makes the whole thing work perfectly. She later calls him to the roof of his building as members of Nightwatch try to stop him. It's a really fun, really creepy time. One of the things I personally loved about this film is that the US version had enhanced subtitles that they took the time to make a part of the film. During some scenes, the subtitles will wipe off the screen using physical objects in the film. One character may swipe their arm to grab something, and they use that action to transition from one subtitle to the next. Another great example is when the female vampire is using her mental call power. The subtitles will be all in red and will fall off the screen like blood. It takes a lot of time and a lot of care to put something like that in a film that's usually an afterthought to add subtitles to foreign titles. While the film was based off a series of books, the real talent behind the movie was writer and director Timur Bekmambetov. His visuals and editing make the film unlike anything that had come before it. When it was released in 2004, it became the highest-grossing film of all time in Russia. It even beat out the likes of the Lord of the Rings films, which were a massive box office draw across the world. Timur Bekmambetov would go on to make the sequel Daywatch in 2006. This film would also be wildly popular in Russia. After this, Timur would start working in the US for major movie studios. He would go on to direct the film adaptation of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, the wildly stylish and popular Wanted, and would even go on to produce such films as Hardcore Henry, the post-apocalyptic animated film 9, which is highly underrated and I suggest you check it out, and the found footage film Searching. Sadly, we'll never get the conclusion to the series, but you can see Timur's influence on the films he made afterwards. The kinetic energy from Nightwatch is very present in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and Wanted. He ushered in a new flashy use of visual effects and quick editing that is still seen today in films like John Wick. Both films are readily available on streaming services, either as free rentals or paid rentals, and you can also go and read all 6 of the Nightwatch novels. In today's world of streaming services, this series would be perfect to make as an ongoing TV show on a platform like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Personally, I'd love to see the continuing adventures of Anton and the Nightwatch. You bring the popcorn, and I'll bring the vodka. Did you guys see this one in theaters, or did you see it on video? Have you read the books? What are your favorite parts? Let us know in the comments, as well as what movies you'd like to see featured on this show. Thank you for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our JoBlo Horror Videos channel. Tell your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all our latest videos. We're an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.